Hello everyone. So today will be my October TBR. I know this is heaps late because today's like the 15th, but I've had so much going on that I just haven't had time to do any recordings. So I've got like maybe half an hour before I have to go pick up my kids. So I'm trying to squeeze this in. So for this month, I started a book club in September. So I have 2 books within that book club, one being a fiction book and one being a non-fiction book. So I'll start with those 2 first. So the non-fiction book is an autobiography this time around. Last month it was a true Australian book, history book. So the autobiography is The Secret World of Johnny Depp, the intimate biography of Hollywood's best loved rebel by Nigel Goodall. And yes, being how late into the month it is, I have started the book and almost finished it. So I'm trying to get it read so I can get it back to my library and other people in the group can borrow it and give it a read. The next book, which I'm still waiting for the library to get in, is the fantasy book, which is Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. So that's one of the covers. I'm pretty sure this one's... Oh yeah, it says vampire. So this is like a vampire story, which I thought would do awesome for October, being like Halloween and the spooky month for a lot of people. I thought this would be a good choice for the little book club group that I've started to be able to read for this month. I haven't got a synopsis for that one though, I'm sorry. I haven't even got the book yet. I just remember that it's about vampires and organisations, because it's part of the Black Dagger Brotherhood saga. It's the first book in that one. So the next one is, and I know these are a lot of books for me to read considering how late in the month I'm doing this, but the next one, which I've also started, because I started this one before I got my book club books in, was The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Christian White. This is a book I've been meaning to read for a very long time, and I actually completely forgot about it until my librarian passed me it. All these other books are October themed books, but they're all from my librarian, which was awesome because it worked so well for the month. So the synopsis for this one is: Elizabeth Lavenza hasn't had a proper meal in weeks. Her thin arms are covered with bruises from her caregiver, and she is on the verge of being thrown into the streets until she is brought to the home of Victor Frankenstein, an unsmiling, solitary boy who has everything except a friend. Victor is her escape from misery. Elizabeth does everything she can to make herself indispensable, and it works. She is taken in by the Frankenstein family and rewarded with a warm bed, delicious food, and dressed from the finest silk. Soon she and Victor are inseparable. But her new life comes at a price. As the years pass, Elizabeth's survival depends on managing Victor's dangerous temper and indulging in his every whim, no matter how depraved. Behind her blue eyes and sweet smile lies the calculating heart of a girl determined to stay alive whatever the cost, as the world she knows is consumed by darkness. So, obviously it's a twist off from the original Mary Shaw's Frankenstein, using one of the other characters within it. What I've read on it, it has been rather interesting. I'm hoping to be able to get back into reading this one once I'm finished with the autobiography, while I'm waiting for the other book to come in. After that is In the After by Dimitri Luneta. I'm bad with names. What is it? I heard something about this one. I can't remember where. It was before I started watching YouTube videos, before I started Instagram, before any of the media side was in it. I'm pretty sure I might have picked it up at one stage in one of the past libraries I've been to, because my family has travelled a lot, and as an adult I've travelled a fair bit. So I think it was from there, but I can't remember. I know I did have an interest in it, but I just never got around to it. And the synopsis for this is: Amy is watching TV when it happens, when the life she once knew is taken over by them. Though their origin is known, these vile creatures are out to kill, but Amy, marooned in her high security house, is able to survive. She even rescues Baby, an abandoned toddler, during a dangerous trip into the town for supplies. Now, after years of hiding, they are miraculously rescued and taken to New Hope, a survivors' colony on a former government research compound. New Hope seems safe until the dark underbelly of this colony comes to light, and the more Amy uncovers, the bigger the target on her back grows. Forced to choose between protection from the creatures of the outside world and the dangers of New Hope, Amy must make a decision fast, for it could cost her and Baby their lives. So see, it is really, really interesting in the fact that it sounds like they haven't told you what's out there. Part of me is thinking zombie, but it might be something else too. You never know. But it's really intriguing, and I'm looking forward to reading it like I am with all of these books that I currently have, and most books I generally get. So the next one is Whispers in the Dark by Jonathan Aycliffe. I have not seen anything about this book, not heard about this book until my librarian passed it to me. So I read the synopsis when she handed it to me. It sounded interesting, so I went, alright, I'll give it a read. So this one says, at the end of the 19th century, Charlotte Metcalf is a child of good fortune. A prosperous father, a loving mother, and a beloved brother all cocoon her from the fears of the outside world. But then her father dies and she is plunged into poverty. The workhouse becomes her miserable home. Yet Charlotte escapes, determined to find her lost brother. Her search brings her to Brass Hall, home of the unknown relations, where fine clothes, good food, and wealth seems to promise all she desires. But at night the horror begins. Of sound and sense, and surpassing all earthly terror, Charlotte finds that daytime comforts come at a price, and she must fulfill her terrible destiny. So, it sounds like it has that paranormal, spooky, October sort of theme to it. It might not, it might just be a crime book, but it does sound interesting, it does sound good to me. Alright, the next one is The Coffin Path by Catherine Clements. Right. It wasn't this cover, but there was another book called The Coffin Path. I'm pretty sure it is this book, I'm not sure. It sounds like it might be from the synopsis, but I picked up a book a while ago and I couldn't remember the name of it, I couldn't remember the author, but just little key points I had stuck in my head and they would remain stuck there. And then my librarian passed me this book and it sounded like the one that I'd actually been trying to find, which was awesome. If it is, it would be even better. By the synopsis it says, maybe you've heard the tales about Scarecross Hall, the house on the old Coffin Path that winds from village to moor top. They say there's something up there, something evil. Mercy Booth isn't afraid. The moors and the Scarecross are her home and lifeblood, but beneath her certainty, small things are beginning to trouble her. 3 ancient coins missing from her father's study, the shadowy figure out by the gatepost, an unshakable sense that someone is watching. When a stranger appears seeking work, Mercy reluctantly takes him in. As their story entwines, this man will change everything. She just can't see it yet. So, it is intriguing. The synopsis sounds like the book I was thinking about. So does the title, but I'm pretty sure it had a different cover. I'm not 100% sure, but if it's not, it's still, the book sounds interesting. It sounds like something I'd enjoy and find very entertaining, I hope. Right. So the next one, I've just noticed this from an author I've already read out, is called The Fade by Dimitri Lynette. Alright. It wasn't this one, it was book 2 to this series, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this was the series. Might not be. Nope, it wasn't. It was that other book. So the other book was what prompted me to think about this one in a different way. So the synopsis for this one is, something terrible happened in her basement. Hayley can feel it. 4 girls went missing several years ago and the police never solved the case. But Hayley knows the missing girls were murdered. How else can she explain the hostile presence in her house? The ghostly girls need something from her, and unless Hayley can figure out what they want, she might be next. So, still intriguing, still interesting. I actually do enjoy a good ghost story, provided it's not silly. Like, what is it? I remember reading a ghost story, and the only thing that the ghost was really the girl's cat. The whole way through it was nothing but the cat doing everything. Sorry. So the whole story and synopsis was basically claiming it was ghosts and it was this and that, and it was like this big, huge setup. And then in the end, she's like, it was just my cat, and now it's ended. So hopefully this isn't like that one where it's like this big dramatic ghost story thing, and it just turns out to be a cat. But I do look forward to reading this and seeing how it goes. Like I said, I do enjoy a good ghost story, and the way authors can set up a history and someone's research and all that. So the next one is from Elodie Harper. It's called The Binding Song. So this says some crumbs must be revenged on the front. This is an author I've read before. I've enjoyed Elodie Harper's previous books. I'm currently trying to remember what one it was, but I can't at this present moment. I know she's a really good author. I know I've enjoyed about 5 of her books that I have read. I'm pretty sure it's 5 of them I've read. Yeah, I think it's that. But I haven't heard of this one until my librarian passed it over to me, and like I saw the author and I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. And then the name of the book itself, The Binding Song, is intriguing. I like the person's face amongst the trees, and the synopsis, which I'm about to read, was rather interesting too. So it says, Dr. Janet Palmer is the new lead psychologist at HMP Harvingate in a remote, bleak area of Norfolk. A string of inmates have committed suicide, leaving no reason why, and her predecessor has disappeared, along with his notes. The staff are hostile, the threat of violence is ever present, and there are rumours of an eyeless woman stalking the corridors, punishing the inmates for their sins. Janet is determined to find out what is really going on, but the longer she stays, the deeper she digs, the more uncertain she feels. Halfgate is haunted by something, but it may be a terror worse than ghosts. So, intriguing, interesting. The fact that it says it might be more than ghosts makes me think this is more a crime book over a paranormal book, but then it could also be like demonic, or could be something else. So, it's intriguing and interesting to me in aspects. So, they're all the books I'm going to try and get through in the next 15 to 16 days in November. Hopefully I can get through those so I can continue on with the other long list of books that my librarian gave me to try and get through. And because they're all kind of due back at the end of this month. And I'll give you an update on how I felt about each book and all that, hopefully at the start of next month. I will be doing a wrap up for August and September for my next video after this one. Hopefully I'll be able to post it either the next day after I post this one or the day after that. Hopefully. But until I see you again, thank you for watching. Bye!